I will speak in English. So if I wanted to do a voting actually كنت بدي أسوي تصويت بالأول إذا أحكي بالعربي أو بالإنجليزي if I speak in English or in Arabic. But Nuran قالت لي told me that I should speak in English and I prefer Arabic, but we can go English for now. Okay. Okay. What just happened? Uh, what just happened was bad communication. I was talking, but nobody was listening. In communication, it's not just about talking. It's about also delivering the message clearly and correctly. So I was talking. The intention was for me to send the message to you, but unfortunately, you couldn't hear me. So what's the difference between communication and connection? In Arabic, we call it اتصال وتواصل. It's in English, it's communication. In Arabic, it's a bit more, let's say, emphasized on the connection part. Because if we communicate, not necessarily that I speak and you listen, or I send the message, let's say, and you receive it. In Arabic, it's اتصال والتواصل. So it's the difference is more clear. Uh, let's start with simple. What is communication? Or what is اتصال والتواصل? Communication is you should have a sender, the message that I'm sending, the messenger, let's say I'm the sender, a channel, قناة, that I send the message in. It could be a telephone, it could be the TV, it could be an email, it could be a WhatsApp message, and the receiver. The receiver here, we mean that in this case, you are the receiver. So at the start, when I was talking and you couldn't hear me, there was a sender, there was a message, there was a channel, and there was a receiver. But in communication, we say that there was something in Arabic we call tashwish. Um, if you remember, I don't know what generation most of you are, but for me, um, before satellite, we used to have antennas at TV, and it's not always the channel wasn't always clear, so we had to move the antennas to get a clear channel. Sometimes when we're communicating, the communication or the message is not clear. It's either the sender is not sending the right message. So the receiver would be, it would be complicated for the receiver to receive the message, or the channel that I'm sending the message. If I'm using a phone, sometimes you use the mobile, and you're talking, and the other side is saying your voice is not clear, so there is jamming. Also, the channel could be, and the message itself could be not the right message for the receiver himself. For example, uh, I could be, I am, let's consider that, or let's play an act. I am a doctor, and I'm talking to my patient, but I'm talking in so technical terms, too much technical terms. I'm using too much technical terms. So eventually, if the patient is not a doctor, they are not going to understand what I'm talking about. So the message itself could be also not clear. Also, the receiver. In communication, the receivers are different, or the people who receive the message, they receive it in a totally different way. For me, as Iyad, I like to see, people when they're talking, or I like to see the message. Today, I wrote a post on LinkedIn talking about, explaining your message with a drawing. Sometimes a simple drawing could, for some people, not everybody, could be very useful to convey the message. Some people like to listen. Some people like to feel if they go to a museum and there is a sculpture, they like to feel the sculpture just to get the message. So different people receive different messages differently. And in companies, uh, this applies to everybody because in companies we're not talking to one person only. We're talking to many employees. So it's even harder. Huh? So imagine yourself a manager and you have to send this message to, let's say, 50 employees. Every single employee has a different way of receiving the message. Regardless that this is a very uh, uh, hard thing to do for a manager, but let's simplify things for people to know what type of communication there are in companies and how we communicate. Okay. Uh, uh, can you see the presentation? Just confirm if you can see the presentation or not. Anybody, just in the chat, confirm if you can see the presentation clearly. Yes, perfect. Okay. So as you can see, how do we communicate in companies? In companies, we communicate, we call it vertically and horizontally. Vertically means from bottom to top and from top to bottom, and horizontally. Horizontally means, uh, let's say there is a department and they are all in the same department. So they're all communicating with each other horizontally. And let's have another example. Let's say an employee, a technician, wants to send a message to his manager, so he's communicating vertically. And vice versa. If we have a manager and they need to send a message to a technician or a worker, they do it vertically. Why is this important? Because when you communicate in a company, you need to know how are you communicating so you can communicate in the right channel. For example, if we're talking employees with each other, the same level, normally it's a mix between formal and informal communication. So behind the desk, behind the PC, behind the laptop, we send formal, uh, let's say, messages. But there is a difference. When we meet beside the cooler, which, by the way, according to a study, it's most rumors, they get out in this area around the cooler. So if you want to know who's getting fired, you go to the cooler and you chit chat and you know who's getting fired, who's getting promoted, the same thing. Who gave birth to what? Who got married? Who got engaged? Who got divorced? You go to the cooler. So the cooler is what we call it, or the cooler area, the communication over there, we call it informal communication. It's casual, unofficial, so you can talk. Uh, so we have to know who are we talking to and where we talk to these people, because every place has its own way of communication. Right. You're going to ask me, okay, Iyad, why communication matters in a company? Oh, very good question. Communication means trust. Communication means identity. Communication means professionalism. Why? Let's take trust. Let's have an example that you are sending an email for your employees and nobody replies. Uh, this is going to give you the impression as a manager that these employees, they don't respect you because they didn't reply. But the truth, it's not always that this is true. Why? Because maybe these employees are busy. Maybe they are preparing something, preparing a reply, but you don't know that. But there is a good way to communicate, a good way to show that you are communicating in the right way, a good way to make the others feel that they have your trust and you have their trust. For example, if you send an email to your employees, and so as an employee, the first thing that you should do is reply to this email. Although you don't have the answer in this email. For example, if your manager sends you an email and tells you, Ahmed, please prepare this report by end of this week. So Ahmed doesn't reply. In his thoughts, he's thinking that I don't have the report, so I will reply when I have the report. Most probably, Ahmed is thinking right, but this is not the perfect way to communicate. As soon as Ahmed gets the email, he should immediately reply to his manager and let him know first that he received the email, that he is working on preparing the report, and that the report will be delivered on time. In this way, his manager knows that Ahmed received the email. Ahmed is working on that report that he asked for. Third, the manager will do something else now because he's not worried about Ahmed and the report, and he's not thinking just about Ahmed and why Ahmed didn't reply. Is he doing that? Is he prioritizing my email or not? So the first thing to do for Ahmed and for his manager, that also shows the manager that Ahmed is uh, you know on top of things. He knows what he's doing and he's working on it. So both parties are calm. Both parties are doing their jobs and not thinking a lot about many things, about many scenarios. So this is one thing that you can do just to make things clear to your manager that I am working on that. The same thing goes for from employee to manager, which is we're talking vertically. When me, let's say Iyad, is sending my manager a message and asking him if I can, take, next month, the first 3 days of next month vacation. And we are still at the beginning of the month. So as a manager, he thinks, this is long time ago. I'll answer before a week. But me, I'm worried. Did he receive the message? Is he mad about me or mad of something that I did? Is there something wrong? Did I do something that upsets or upset my manager? So this is a problem. I'm always thinking, so I can't, achieve or do something else in my work. So the ideal, let's say, scenario is as soon as you get the message, send a reply confirming receiving the message. As simple as that. If you don't want to talk too much or you don't have any information, the first thing or the first healthy thing to do is to send reply or to press reply and send thank you for the message, well received. Best regards. So the other party knows that you received and that you're working on that. This is how trust is built through communication. So your manager now trusts that you are doing things, and you trust the manager that he is, prioritizing you, and he is reading your messages, and he knows what you're doing. He's also this could be appreciated by sending a thank you reply by saying thank you, Ahmed, well received. So Ahmed feels he's thanking me that shows something good. This is about trust. If we're talking about something else which adds to the communication of the company, we're talking about the organizational identity. This happens normally in the signature part. I sign Iyad. Somebody else signs Eyad F. Batshon. Uh, Somebody else signs Eyad Batshon, country director, ABC company, Middle East. My, email address, my telephone number, my contact information. So the more the options are, the more vague the organizational identity is. But if we take the other positive scenario, everybody is signing with the same signature, the name, the position, the company, the contact information for myself and for the company, and maybe a small banner that is, linked to the company website. So every time I send this email, the other part is always relaxed, is always recognizing that this is from ABC company. So automatically there is a trust built, and there is relief that this company I know. So this also is important to have an organizational identity and not to become isolated. Everybody is sending their own, signatures, um, everybody how he likes it. So at the end, we become isolated islands instead of uniting the institute or ourselves under one umbrella, which is the organization itself. So somebody will tell me, okay, what's that? What's the linkage between communication and professional identity? Okay, professional identity is very important because if we communicate in a healthy way in a company, that is called in communication healthy communication, healthy atmosphere, healthy company, healthy organization. And this is reflected also not just inside the company, it's also reflected outside the company. So, what does this help the company and what does this help the employee himself? It helps the company that your reputation or the company's reputation is very good. So people are eager to apply to this company. On the other part, it's very healthy for the employee himself because as soon as he decides to look for a new job, he is considered from this healthy company, or the reputation of this company is high because everybody is professional, everybody is communicating in a professional way. So this adds to the reputation of the company, healthy communication. Okay. I'm going to give you, maybe lots of you knows this information, but maybe also lots of you doesn't, which is communication. It's not only verbal communication. Communication is part verbal, part tone, part body language. So it's not one part. And you will be amazed that words or, yeah, in a percentage, words are just 7% of the total message. So if I'm talking to you, uh, you receive 7% of the message from the words coming out of my mouth. But if I'm shouting, you will have 38% of the message. And if I'm doing that with my body, you will be getting 55% of the message. What does that mean? That body language is very important to control and to have a healthy, let's call it healthy body language to send the message and for the other part to receive this message. Why is this important? Because whatever words I'm talking, whatever meaningful words I'm talking or getting or going out of my mouth, and I'm doing this while I'm talking, you wouldn't get the message. Because this is, as we said, in Arabic, we call it tashwish, distraction. The tone is also important. It's not as important as the body language, but it is important and it takes 38% of the total message that I'm sending. So every time you're talking, be careful of your body language. Don't stand like that. Don't stand like that. Uh, have a relaxed body. Uh, in workplaces, it's very important to, be aware of our body language. Sometimes an employee goes in to another employee's desk and he approaches and he puts both his hands, or she puts both her hands on the table of the other employee. This body language will all automatically triggers, a blockage from the other part to not to listen because they are concentrating on the hands, on the invasion of my space, on my desk. So whatever the other side is talking about, I'm not hearing because everything is concentrated of this invasion of the other person going into my office, putting his hands or her hand on the desks. So this distracts the main message that I'm delivering. And this is very important. So every time you go to talk to people, try to keep eye contact, try to keep your body relaxed, because this delivers or helps to deliver around 55% of the message. Try it, and you will feel that the other part is losing, even either losing attention or you're getting their attention back by, having the right, body language to communicate with. Okay, I'm gonna stay brief because I've been given, very short time. I'm not gonna talk a lot, but I'm gonna take few examples just to talk about, examples that happen in workplaces. So let's talk about calls and messages. How many of you have ever sent a message at work and waited hours for a reply and kept on thinking, why don't they reply? What is happening? Did the email, was the email sent? Did they receive email? So this is very important. What can we do? There are some of the best, these are some of the best practices for calls and messages. We should do that the message is delivered clearly and, in the right channel and in the right way. As we said, answer promptly and return missed calls the same day. Don't wait the second day. Although I said it's not important that you have a reply, it's important that you reply. And if you don't have a reply, mention that in your message and mention that in your phone call. Don't hesitate to call back because you don't have a reply. Call back and say, I don't have a reply. I will find a way, find a solution, work on a reply, work on a problem, and solve it and get back to you. But don't ever not reply because this destroys the whole relationship and brings you or takes you from where you are to a totally different, level of bad communication. Second, stay reachable when you are on duty. Of course, when you go home, it's a work-life balance. You should do that balance. But when you are at the office or at work, stay reachable because although if you're doing something and you're, completely blocked from your teammates or from your manager or from your employees as well, it's very difficult, to control these thoughts that people get. He's okay, he's out, he's having fun, he's not working, he's doing so and so, he's avoiding me. So stay reachable. It's very easy. Just, keep your phone on. When you go home, you can put it off. Different companies have different policies, but me, myself, I recommend that I do the work-life balance when I go home. I have my own time. When I'm at the office or at the company, I stay reachable because that's why I'm there. Okay, another question. How many of you have ever received an email without a subject, not knowing what is this email? Is it urgent? Is it not? And you start, as a receiver, you start thinking, is this important? Should I reply now? What I didn't understand what the message was in this email. Is it for me? Is it for somebody else? And the problem begins when I see five or six people in the email. Then I don't know. Are you talking to me? Should I answer? Oh no, there are five people, other five people in the email. Why should I reply to this email? Let Ahmed reply. Let Roba reply because they are in the same email. So never say see people without making it clear that you are talking to Ahmed, for example, and making sure that you are sending the right messages and the right, if you are a manager, the right requests for the right people. And sometimes we mention, it's good to mention, it's good to be clear. Because if you don't do that, most probably the 7 or the 13 or the 15 or the 20 people CC'd in the email will think the same thing. Ah, it's not for me, it's for Muhammad, it's for Rashid, it's for other people. So always mention, is this email urgent? Who is it for? And be clear. You don't have to write too many words to get a clear message. Sometimes few lines, few, points, and you're there. Thank you. Thank you. Also, how can we save or how can we solve these problems? There are some best practices for email etiquette. We call it etiquette because, as you know, as everything else, it has etiquette. Clear subject line. You have to greet people. They don't work for you or they're not slaves. They are human beings and you should respect them, greet them, have a clear subject, clear deadline if you're talking about a deadline, and a clear closing. So, for example, I need this thing from Michelle. Michelle, please send this by end of day. Send this before the weekend. You should be clear. Because if you say, please prepare the report, and you send the email, Michelle or Muhammad will think that, I have till, you know, next month. I will do it when I'm free. Why? Because nobody told him or her when is the deadline. So the deadline is important. Always reply within 2 business days, meaning not 2 extra business days after the deadline or after you receive the email. So I received the email today. I start counting from tomorrow, one, two. So these are 3 business days, by the way. 2 business days may mean today is 1 business day. I received the email. Tomorrow is another business day. So these are 2 business days. Why? Because sometimes it's the end of the business day. So I didn't have the time to reply. I had something else. But when you start the different day, you have a whole day to prioritize yourself and prioritize your emails. So that's why reply within 2 business days. As I said, reply. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't have a reply with a problem solving email or a reply about a question. Just reply and say, I will reply when I have an answer. But reply, please. Avoid unnecessary reply all. Oh my God. How many times I was lost in the maze of reply all email threads. Sometimes it takes me, Iyad, and this happened personally with me, going into threads of emails because somebody felt that reply all is always good. Sometimes it took me 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, just to look for one information. 90%, 90% of these emails that I'm reading are not for me. I'm not interested in. So always avoid unnecessary reply or. Okay, this is very important. Proofread before you send, please, because you'll put yourself in a very awkward place. It just takes 5 seconds, huh? Reading the email again, making sure that it's for the right person. It has the attachment, actually. It has all the information that I'm looking for to send to people and a closure. It takes only 5 seconds to avoid embarrassment. And oh my God, if you're sending to the CEO or the manager and you missed something, That's a disaster. It takes 5 seconds. One, two, three, four, five. Just read back the email and make sure the subject is there, the attachment is there, the body is there, the greeting is there, and the closer is there. And you are sending it to the right person. What else? So in closure, we say clear emails, clear actions. Ahmed, do one, two, three. Hamad, do three, four, five. So work will be more smooth. Okay, let's get into meetings. I'm not going to take a lot. These are very important things. How many times you ever been in a meeting that had no clear agenda and you didn't know why are you attending, and you ended up counting the panels, or playing tag uh, with your next door neighbor, with your friend beside you with your feet, or playing the flute with an empty big pen, or whatever. It's always good to have meetings, but only schedule meetings if truly necessary. Send agenda at least 48 hours in advance. Why? Because if you go and have a meeting with one person, the meeting is useless. So give time for people to reply and accept the meeting. And if they are attending or not, if you're having the meeting alone, or you're having a meeting with key people that are not available, and everybody is planning their day according to your meeting, at the end you cancel the meeting and you shift everybody around. So have a clear agenda, only when necessary have meetings, and at least send the meeting request 48 hours, so giving the people to reply, the chance for people to reply and accept your meeting. Accept before 24 hours, not before 1 hour. If you decline before 1 hour and everybody declined before 1 hour, I will go to the meeting by myself and maybe another two people, and you ruined our day. So always reply within 24 hours. And after the meeting is very important. Send minutes of meeting for everybody. Make sure that somebody is taking minutes of meeting, because a meeting without an agenda, without minutes of meeting, is just a coffee break. And you've been there. Okay, escalation and respect. Even when we follow the best practices, sometimes issues happen and we have, disputes. We call them disputes in companies. So how do we solve these disputes? We have, every company has a different way of dealing with disputes. But the healthiest way to deal with disputes is talk directly to the person you're having an issue with, instead of going through email or WhatsApp, because we said body language is 55% of the message itself. So going there and presenting yourself with healthy and, of course, with the intention of solving the problem is the number one way to solve the problem. If no solution was, met, or you disagreed on the solution, go to your direct manager. Don't you ever go to the general manager or the CEO directly. I will tell you why. Then the section head. After the direct manager, you go to the section head. After that, the last resort, you go to the general manager, division director, or the CEO. Because if you go directly to them, with a small problem, one, losing their time. They're losing their time because this is for them. They hired many people and they paid many salaries, to manage the company. Within the management is the problem management. So they paid people to solve these problems, and you didn't go them. So you're breaking the protocol. So directly, first go to the person himself, talk to them. If this doesn't work, go, with a hierarchy. You might, reach the director or the general manager. Always speak with respect and write with care. When I speak with respect, I show respect to the other people. Write with care because if I write something and it's wrong, maybe I will send the wrong message that I didn't intend to send at all. Okay. I asked ChatGPT to, or AI, let's call it AI without advertising any AI agent. Uh, what is your last, or give me, an advice to people. So use AI. What AI said, use AI for support, but leave your own fingerprint to differentiate yourself and be unique. Why do I say that? Because if everybody uses AI the same way, we'll have the same, way of talking, the same answers. It's okay to use AI to communicate with people, but always, have your own thing. I say at the end of my, posts at LinkedIn, I'm always using, ChatGPT to help me organize my ideas. At the end, I write my own word, which is أفعالك صوتها أعلى من كلماتك, which means your actions are louder than your words. This is very important. Add your personal touch to AI. It's not about, being shy to use it. Use it, but also use it carefully and have your own personality, your own, touch when you're talking to people. This is my LinkedIn profile. You can scan the barcode and you go to my LinkedIn. I always post on LinkedIn every morning. Fridays and Sundays, sometimes I do carousels, very interesting carousels. I like them myself. It takes a lot of effort to do these carousels, and I try to keep them, down to earth and close to the receiver. I hope you like this session, and I hope you get, a few interesting and new information for yourself. Thank you all, and have a great rest of the day. I think we'll have questions. If anybody needs to ask questions, I'm ready to answer. How can leaders create a culture where open communication is safe and encouraged? Um, you have to build trust at the beginning, and if this trust is also, treated respectfully, I think communication follows. So I think the first, core thing to ask or to have in place is trust. When you have trust with your employees, or when the company gives you trust, and both of you respect this trust, communication comes within this trust. So you talk about more, but there is an important thing, which is uh, communication is good, but also, following the right way of communicating is very essential. Um, we talk to our managers, but we should have, a professional way to talk. As I said, trust and corporate integrity or corporate identity, that I talk respectfully with my managers, with my fellow employees, with my fellow colleagues. I used to work in a place that everybody is called sir and everybody is called ma'am. Every single person that worked in that company was, called sir and ma'am. I'm not talking about this complication of things. It made things amazing, over there. But you can have a respectful communication, or a conversation with people, and as long as you have this conversation respectful, and you have trust within the company, I think it's easy to move forward. Okay. Thank you for your. It's very valuable. Thank you. Thank you. Jazallah. What are some ways to stay present and avoid distractions during important conversation? We have something in communication called active listening. If you practice active listening, automatically you'll have more, concentration on what the other person is talking about. What is active listening? Active listening actually is when you listen to each and every word the other part is talking about. You're not just listening as a act, and you have prepared your answers beforehand. It's not healthy to prepare answers beforehand. So my advice to everybody, if you're listening to people, listen carefully to the words that are coming out of the other person's mouth. Have them analyzed and answer according to the conversation itself. Don't think a lot about what you're going to answer, because this disconnects you from the other part, and disconnects you also from listening. So always listen in an active way. In that way you will always be alert to what the other party is talking about, and it will be a more interesting conversation, I think. Okay. uh, okay. Thank you, Malik. Thank you, Nuran. Thank you, Michelle. Any other questions before I go? Again, you can contact me, if not here, on LinkedIn privately. I reply to all my, comments, to all my private messages. Nurhan knows I don't, what I do is what I say. So that's just to be frank. Thank you, everybody. If we don't have other questions, please follow me on Instagram, and Nurhan will send you the recording. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Thank you.